to steal a quote from East earlier this episode, people joined up because they watched Full Metal Jacket. That movie does not paint the military in even a remotely cool light, and people still joined up because of that movie. So,
People get inspired by
yeah,
all sorts of things.
like people will take anything that has any remote level of connection to them. For some, it's a sense of duty. For some, it's the rule of cool. For some, there's an ideological reason for it. There's like for every person joining up in the military, there is another different reason to join the military. Because people are complex and messy, and that's why I fucking hate that they kill each other as frequently as they do. Because
Yep.
it makes it harder to judge, makes it harder to understand and to deal with.
But now, if you have a video game that sort of confirms your biases that you might already have, would that, in a lot of cases, would that not be a step too far? That pushes you in the direction of actually joining the military and then doing these actions.
Is that the fault of the game or the thing that came before the game that made that person racist?
Oh, regardless, it's a contributing factor, isn't it?
Uh, yeah, I did say that, but I'm just not convinced that those numbers are big enough for it to matter that much. Maybe I have too much faith in humanity, but I don't know. Like you could very well be right, but that's the thing. I don't know for a fact, but what I can draw from is my own experience and the experiences of the people that I've talked to who have joined the military and many who have not. And overwhelmingly, they only had one or two of those factors. Very rarely was it both. Like I'm not even sure that I've encountered someone that had both of those factors.
6 Days in Fallujah is a first-person shooter game published by Victura. It takes place during the real-life Second Battle of Fallujah, a 6-week-long American-led offensive in Iraq in 2003.
It's the same old game. It's about American heroes going to an Arab country and bringing freedom and liberty, and then talking about how sad it made their soldiers.
This game has been mired in controversy since its first announcement in 2000.
Having played the game, it wasn't about how sad it was. It was about how difficult it was, how horrifying and like brutal it was.
2009.
This is specifically being told from a very explicitly U.S. militaristic perspective, and that criticism stems from the fact that when this game was first announced back in 2009, it was being developed by a studio called Atomic Games, and Atomic Games is being run by someone who. The concept behind this game came from people who were making simulators for the U.S. military training simulators.
This game is told from the perspective of the occupier. It's told from the perspective of the oppressor.
Right.
It's not, when you're going to see Iraqis in this game, I can almost guarantee you the Iraqis in this game are going to be translators that run around like pets to the American soldiers and tell them where the people are hidden in order for them to get them. There's no empowerment of Iraqis in this game or a positive representation of Iraqis. It's not in the trailer. It's not going to be in the game.
By the way, this interview that
So there are.
Was it? Did you play the game?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so was that accurate?
Uh, Not entirely. There is no like Iraqi perspective like in the gameplay, and we do actually get to see Iraqis talking about it, but most of them were part of either coalition forces or journalists. So maybe not the best representation, but they were there, and they weren't going like, "Oh, they're over there," like lapdogs, because, like I said, there's no translators in the game. Like the only time that the game actually like has you like doing gameplay stuff The mission's already started. Like, you haven't been directed anywhere by anyone necessarily. Like, it's just, here's the objective, here's what you're supposed to do, there you are, and sometimes the conditions change. Because that's just how operations work sometimes.
Okay. Now in terms of the enemies, because the enemies are just the Iraqis, do we hear anything about them, or are they just faceless, nameless goons?
A lot of the footage that they based the Iraqi models after, not counting the civilians, are based off of, footage where the, insurgents, so to speak, are covering their faces either with balaclava or keffiyeh. So they are quite literally faceless goons, and I will admit, it is hysterical how much they, say Allahu Akbar, even while wounded. Like, it is hysterical how, like, cartoonish it is that they say it so goddamn often. It's like you said, East.
Is it?
Yes.
What did I say?
You said it's something along the lines of, it's a great game that sucks.
Yes.
And keep in mind, it was an indie game from 2009 that got canceled and officially released like a couple years ago. So, maybe not the fairest portrayal of Iraqis, but given their limitations, I'm not sure how much I want to blame them. Like I said, I'll criticize the game, happily. There's plenty to criticize. But, context and all that.
Alright. Because I have not played the game, so I can't really speak too much on it.
Yeah, given what you've said today, I don't think you'd like it. But yeah, it's
Of course I wouldn't like it. I don't like movies like Jughead or fucking American Sniper. I don't give two shits about movies or video games like that, so I'm not gonna play it.
yeah,
But
and that's,
no, like
that's
for someone that does
fair.
play it, I just want to know.
Yeah, and what they've said is it's not very accurate. It's not inaccurate, but it's not accurate either. Like, they're working with incomplete information and made a judgment about it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the whole sex box thing that happened when Mass Effect came out.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't. What the fuck happened?
Basically, there was a big hullabaloo on Fox News about how in Mass Effect there are sex scenes.
Yeah.
No.
They called it a game full to the brim with nothing but debauchery and sex. So it kind of,
Like, it's
in
a
a
boundary
weird
pushing
way,
game for its time, but like, it's
in
not...
a weird way, it kind of brought a lot of people to because a lot of people are perverts.
Mhm.
But then they played the game and it was like, whoa, this is a cult classic.
They came for the sex and stayed for the game.
Probably
I think it
unironically.
came after the sex.
And also, I don't know about you, but anybody who tells me not to do something, I'm probably gonna do something. That's something.
Yeah.
So
Typical. Well,
There is an impulse to fight against an uneducated order,
Ah, yes, the Wesley Crusher.
That I just played from Al Jazeera was done in 2019 when they decided to re-release the game.
The first time the game was cancelled, you have to imagine, this game wasn't necessarily cancelled by Arabs who had a voice. We didn't have a voice back then. We don't have a voice back now. The reality is that
Back
the
now?
game was cancelled because the veterans opposed to it. People that
Not true, actually. It was canceled because a bunch of Republican Karens thought that the game was insensitive because a recent event was being gamified, when in reality, the game devs were actually working very closely with the people who were there to make the game. So again,
People who were there being
yes,
veterans,
the
I
Occupation Coalition forces.
ah,
People who fought in the Second Battle of Fallujah. As
yes,
well
there we
as
see one of those
journalists and
dirty
translators.
mask-wielding Arabs. Yes, yes. And this is where we slaughtered him and his family. Yes, good.
I don't think Winston Churchill was at the second battle. For,
Yeah, he would have wanted to. He would have, knowing his views, he would have been, hurry and sign me up, lad. Put me there in a heartbeat. Make me Lord of Admiralty again.
fought the war, opposed it, not the people that were victims. They never get asked.
But then later it was
Well, to be fair, the victims are usually kind of dead. There's also
Such is the case with a lot of stories. The victims are dead.
yeah.
Well, no, not entirely. I mean, there were civilians. So I just read an article written by one. So yes, they do exist and they do live. But
Oh, yeah, no,
whether or
I'm
not
just
they
saying, like-
matter, whether or not they matter is very much a thing for the person making the video game to ask themselves.
Sure, and that's definitely a fair thing to point out. I will also point out that, remember, this game was being made in 2009. Not exactly easy.
Also,
to...
by a company that like wanted to make simulation games for the army, so making the enemy human beings is.
Well,
That's
even
bad.
even bias aside, imagine it's the year 2009, and you go to Iraq during the occupation to interview like the locals on what it was like in the Battle of Fallujah.
And they would answer. I mean, I just read
Well,
an
I'm sure
article
many
about
would,
that.
but you know, some would not be happy about that, and also the U.S. Army would not be fucking happy about that. Like they had some pretty serious limitations on what they had access to, let alone could even make.
So why make a video game set here? That's like
To
Why?
bring to life what happened from the perspective that they had available.
that's fair.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say that the game devs didn't have a bias, because based on the way they present the game, there probably was, you know, and especially with like the whole, you know, making simulator games for army training and all that, they probably do have like a very pro-American bias. But even if that wasn't there, they like being an indie game in 2009, pretty fucking limited on what they actually could present.
Yep.
Survived by Hirewire Games as developer and Victura as publisher, the current publisher of the game. Still, there was a lot of controversy, and Victura founder and CEO Peter Tamte had some very tone-deaf responses to the critics. The one that stood out for me is when he was presented with the idea, why not focus the game on Iraqis? He said, very few people are curious what it's like to be an Iraqi civilian. No one's going to play that game, but people are curious about what it's like to be in combat.
The Iraq War happened when Operation Iraq.
For
This
my
lady
part,
is awesome, by the way. If you could ever like do some research on her, like hear her what she has to say, she's awesome. Love this lady.
like a filthy fucking journo to me.
Holy moly!
to be fair, that would also include the Iraqi journalists that were consulted when making the you know, 6 Days in Fallujah game. So, or I think it might have just been the one. But in any case, oh, fuck, what was I saying?
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna try and.
That's what it's like to be an Iraqi civilian. No one's going to play that game.
Oh yeah, I would play that game actually. I think it would be very interesting to like treat like this ongoing
1000%.
war zone as like as a horror game where you are a small like child or whatever having to like, you know, escape the horrors of war. That's why That's why that level in Modern Warfare 2019 is my second favorite level in the whole game, because it not only breaks up the monotony of the whole, shoot the bad guy, be cool, but it showcases the horrors of war from a very, very on the ground perspective. Like, you're literally closer to the ground. You're playing a 9-year-old girl who has to hide from a murder guy, like a fucking murder hobo. Like, just do that, but it's a whole war zone? Fuck yeah, I'd play that game. Make it like Amnesia, but there's no magic. It's just people being evil.
To be fair, there's no magic in Amnesia either.
Yeah, there is.
It's all man-made horrors beyond your comprehension.
Alternate dimensions and shit? Like, I'm pretty sure that's magic.
Yeah, but how did you open those alternate dimensions?
Magic. There's a magic
Man-made
ball.
Man-made horrors beyond your comprehension? Yeah, but how did you get the ball to work? Huh? Answer me
The
that.
ball is from the other dimension in which there is magic.
But how did they
it's
get
a
it over
sciencey kind of magic, but it's still magic.
How did they get it over here?
Through their little sciencey magic.
Oh! Through their little sciencey magic.
I just said it's sciencey magic, but it's still magic.
Splitting hairs.
Okay.
But people are curious about what it's like to be in combat.
The Iraq War happened when Operation Iraqi Freedom, the bombing of Baghdad. I was sitting in the lunch hall, like at San Diego State, which San Diego has like the largest concentration of military bases in the entire country. So I was just surrounded by armored servicemen, and they were just cheering as if it was a video game. And I mean, something inside me just was, I mean, my stomach was just sick. I remember calling my mom. I was like, did Saddam do something? I was like, what the hell happened? We just switched from 9/11 to Iraq, and it just made no sense to me.
And Abby here was...
Which, again, I don't think it was the video games that made them cheer. I think it was the fact that these people had been, convinced by American propaganda that they were getting bad guys who had hurt their country. It's called tribalism. This has existed for longer than people.
Also, video games in 2001 didn't exactly hold the kind of cultural touchstone status that they do now, where you would make that kind of comparison.
Yeah, it wasn't till 2005, 2008 that would be the case.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not to say there weren't military games by 2001. Like, Wolfenstein was definitely a thing.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty had already taken off, yes. Yes, Medal of Honor had already taken off, but I don't think to the level that you would be like, oh my god, they're cheering just like they would for a video game or whatever.
Well, yeah, because, this was at a time, hell, even recently, some people still call all video games Nintendo.
Yeah.
You guys wanna come
Well,
over
to be
and play
fair,
Nintendo?
most of them are hellbound boomers.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Again, you always circle back to just the worst possible thing you could say.
What?
You don't see it.
Hellbound
What?
boomers, bro? Really?
Have you met boomers?
Yes, actually.
Yes.
My grandparents are boomers.
Yeah.
And I like the description, but...
I like
doesn't
the
mean it's not
description.
like an offensive thing to say. It's just I like offensive jokes is the thing.
was talking about that time post 9/11, how she was radicalized, because indeed it all started with 9/11, because that manufactured consent for what happened in Iraq, which is actually the basis of that game, 6 Days in Fallujah. By the way, the game was finally released last November, exactly 20 years after the Battle of Fallujah. And Victura now, the publisher, now builds the game as the world's first documentary video game.
For any leader, when you're in the highest levels of combat, the paradox that exists is you have a mission. The mission comes before the Marines. The Marines are the thing that you love. You have to sacrifice, you have to destroy what you love.
It was real for us very quickly.
I guess you would call that a documentary if the only real people, in your point of view, are Americans, and everybody else is just faceless enemy fodder.
Okay, so, a documentary
has
is
a
not
point
meant
there.
to necessarily, like, it should strive for objectivity. And the thing is, you can have objectivity from only one perspective. Which is why there was a quote that I heard recently that documentaries are actually your least reliable source of info. I don't think that's true. However, they do have the capacity to be the most dangerous.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Documentary filmmaking is an art like any other kind of filmmaking, and art is absolutely manipulatable. It is creation. It is not fact. You are telling a story.
Yes, and like for example, I could I could have my phone out, you know, recording like my fiance dancing or whatever, and then a car crash happens behind me, and I turn around. That's the only perspective that I have, but it's still documented evidence of something happening.
Well, yeah, but it's not documentary though, because documentary is intended.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, like,
you would have had to be like, I'm going to film that car crash that's going to happen.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying, like, to, you know, give an idea as to how, like, a limited perspective can still be documentation while also being as dangerous as described.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a little bit of pedantry here.
Uh-huh.
Like, and I'm not sure that the devs think that Iraqis are faceless humans, considering that they, or that they're even subhuman, considering that they worked with a couple. I don't know them though, so maybe they are racist. I don't know.
I'm glad to know that everybody playing 6 Days in Fallujah though agrees that it's erg positive.
What? What'd you say?
Steam reviews.
Because Dutch.
Oh.
Yes.
I wish I knew another language. Good lord.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
No, I do not speak. The only reason I know that is because
I sprechen.
Yeah, we have a German friend in another server, also because of memes and, you know, World War II games and shit.
Sick.
6 Days in Fallujah is indeed hyper-realistic visually, and it's also an incredibly intense tactical first-person shooter game, where you, regardless of where you are from, are immersed in the experience of an American soldier. The message, over and over again, is that Arab blood is the cheapest blood on earth. You can spill as much of it as you want, no context is required, because they're bad guys. We're bad guys. And even if the developers of these games aren't the...
I don't think it's Arab blood.
I can relate.
Like, I can see where that perspective comes from, but I don't think that the intent is Arab blood is the cheapest blood out there. I think it's, hey, go kill the terrorists. Like, I can see where the conflation
once again,
comes
we're going to have the
because...
conversation, what do you define as a terrorist?
Well,
Can confirm
yeah,
that.
which does, you know, lead into that complex sort of conversation. But, like, objectively, the people that the game tells you to not shoot because they are just watching the battle or caught up in the middle of it are not terrorists. Like, it doesn't matter what definition you go with, the people the game tells you to not shoot are not terrorists.
They're sitting in a conference room like, how can we make the Arabs look bad? I'm sure they're not saying that literally. They do have a shorthand for all these wars that America was involved in. And to keep representing that from the point of view of America is indeed the problem. That's what propaganda is.
The other interesting story I have for that, there was a game I played, this was many years ago, and it's in the name, right? It's called Conflict Desert Storm, right? So I start playing this game, and you're operating this 4-unit team of soldiers or whatever, and you're in Iraq. And I had to stop playing it because, like, they didn't do well enough in tricking me, right? Like, because the guys were running at you in turbans, yelling, like, Allah, Allah Akbar, and all this sort of stuff. I prefer playing games that are more realistic. Like, so when I play games...
if I may bring it back just a second...
Game. And you're...
Is he wearing a turban or a helmet, do you think?
Who?
The guy on screen right now.
Operating this 4-unit team of soldiers.
That doesn't look like a turban to me.
And
I mean, maybe if we use turban vaguely to just mean like headwear? I don't know.
Well, by that logic, everything you wear on your head is a turban.
Well, yeah.
Now, also, it's just like a clip, and we've shown that this guy puts like really bad clips to justify his actions. or not justified to like give context.
Well, yeah, because
So
the person
maybe
making the video has
game-
no idea what he's talking about, and the other person has a rather strange
really a
sort of
gamer.
newbie opinion on video games.
Yeah, is barely
Yeah.
he's barely a gamer.
Like I'm
Also,
fine with
that
accepting.
that doesn't look like a turban to me. I honestly I thought it was a beret at first.
Yeah. Like I'm fine with assuming that like the voice lines are terrible because that's again that's the case in 6 Days in Fallujah. And maybe there are bad guys with turbans in the game. I don't know. I've not played the game. I hadn't heard of it before this video. So I don't know.
Like, they didn't do well enough in tricking me, right? Like, because the guys were running at you in turbans yelling like Allah Allah Akbar and all this sort of stuff. I prefer playing games that are more realistic. Like, so when I play games, I play them to like immerse in the world and be in the world and be the character.
And as a player of these games, if you're not from the Middle East or don't know anyone from the Middle East, then you assume that the portrayal of the Arabs in the video game is hyper-realistic because everything else is hyper-realistic. These games are so visually stunning that you think, okay, so the portrayal of the bad guy must also be realistic. Speaking of the designing of these games and the characters in them...
If you're 12, yeah.
Activision over the for the real-time strategy
That's
chapter.
not at all.
That's great.
That's
a good fuck you, dude.
yeah. This dude is kind of an idiot when it comes to this stuff.
All right, well, let's see what he has to say about my favorite genre of military-centric video game, shall we?
Yeah.
Now is as good a time as any to get into the makers and the developers of these games, the people behind these games. We already said that 6 Days in Fallujah was developed by Victura. Call of Duty, which I mentioned, is made by a company called Activision, along with Infinity Ward and Treyarch. They are considered a AAA game company because of how big they are and because of how many games they make. They do a lot to cover up the fact that you're shooting Arabs in these games. That is because they want their games in every home possible. And you can't do that if you're pissing off a large portion of your community. The other thing is that each of these games gets a rating, like a movie. They get rated by the ESRB, the Entertainment Software Rating Board. They never want a game rated as AO, which is adults only, because that means that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo won't carry the game on their platform. If you notice, the Call of Duty thumbnail looks more like Lawrence of Arabia or Bedouin tribes.
Thumbnail. The thumbnail for
look
Call
like
of Duty
Lawrence of
World War
Arabia.
II.
Looks like
Lawrence wore white.
This isn't the
What?
fucking thumbnail. This isn't the poster, dude. This is like behind the scenes imagery of a model. I'm not
This is
even.
like-
I haven't
this is-
played
this
COD
is
World War
con-
II.
this is
I don't
concept
think this is
art.
used. Yeah.
this is concept art.
romanticizes Arabs. And that's not on purpose, so the game can be sold in the Middle East and without offending anybody. Another game that popped up in the research was Arma 3.
We've been fighting the government for weeks. Hit and runs, assassinations, intimidation. We'd done anything we could to undermine the regime.
Cold as shit
Our
I ever
efforts had
seen.
paid off and led to more recruits joining our resistance movement.
This one is primarily sold on Steam. Steam is for PC or computer games only. Steam will pretty much sell any game to anyone. By the way, Steam is where that game...
Did you guys know they got this thing now called Steam that'll sell you any game you want for your computer?
Well, for I think his audience, people that are just dope. Okay, looking at this guy,
it's indicative of the kind of out of touch, like, mentality that we're dealing with, though.
Yeah.
no, but also okay.
Style of
So
rhetoric.
look at this guy. Well, first, look at this guy. Second, look at his channel. In fact, what is this guy's channel?
Well, I can't see it.
Indie Nile. Okay, because that's a. Okay.
Get it?
So
Yeah, it's a pun.
Because he's
now
from
I'm gonna look
Egypt.
at his channel, and I'm gonna assume that the majority of it content, i.e., people that are not known. Indie
No, what?
Nile.
I haven't seen any of his other videos, but I've seen thumbnails for them. It's
it looks
mostly
like-
just activism right now. It's mostly like political.
A lot of it is
activism,
activism.
drag
That's
shows,
completely
That's
fair.
my
Free
favorite
Palestine,
kind
that kind of stuff.
person.
What?
I love activists.
Oh.
And their visions.
Actually, yeah, it's a lot of that.
You might
yeah,
say
so-
he has an active vision.
And I,
His-
yeah,
Yeah,
He's
so his
not-
main play video. So it would make sense.
an avocado.
This is what video games do.
Avocado.
Yeah, like I'm fine with it, like people who don't know like video games or don't have like a big gamer audience explaining what Steam is. The issue is he is talking about video games with all this like authoritative research. Like he's speaking as an
And like
authority
I said,
despite
it's
clearly
the-
knowing nothing about them.
And like I said, it's the rhetoric itself that I find extremely out of touch. Like, I'm fairly certain, like, there's a better way to say that, oh yeah, Steam is the online storefront that you can purchase games for PC on. There, I just did it.
Isn't that like just the tagline for
Instead
Steam?
of Steam will sell you any game you want for your
No,
computer.
the
like it sounds like
To
a
be fair,
fucking
to
drug
be
dealer.
fair, to be fair, that's what it does. You can find anything.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of different kinds of games.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knew?
not Steam users.
Apparently not.
I do.
Game 6 Days in Fallujah was launched. Think of Steam as a giant catalog of games which are rated, but you can still buy the adults only. Sorry, I live in Red Light District, and the guys are drunk
Yeah, I can tell.
and walking around looking at the girls. So charming. I just closed the window, so let's carry on. So Arma 3 is made by Bohemian.
That was the gayest way you could have possibly said I live near hookers.
It's because he's good.
I realize that, but you don't have to like advertise it.
All of it, like it's the most, and it's always the most flamboyant ones.
Can you believe that they look at the girls like, "Ugh, look at me instead?
Like,
They
Christ
kind of
on
have that
cracker,
energy. Like,
It's just something awfully catty about that.
it's so catty. It's so catty.
this just
Good
bolsters my
lord.
theories that pure gay men are indeed women. No. Maybe he's trans and he just doesn't know it yet.
I hate that. I hate that.
Transvestite, he admitted it.
Trisket, I hate that.
That is fuck shit. You're right.
He
God
said it
damn
with
it.
his whole
No.
self.
Oh
He
god,
said it with his
no.
whole self.
Because
Yep.
it is his whole
Yep.
self. It's like
Oh my, yeah. No, it's
Yep.
true. It is. It is like if that is a thing that you partake in,
It's
it is your
it's
entire
almost-
identity.
It's almost yeah, no, it's his entire being just being gay. Yeah. Yep.
Not necessarily being gay,
They've been
but, like,
around
if
for a
you
long
dress
time
like a
and they
woman,
pride
then that's,
themselves
like,
on realism and accuracy.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! A regime jet had strafed our position and killed 2 rebels in the blink of an eye.
But here's the confusing part. They make their game so that it can be altered. Whoever purchases Arma 3 on PC can use what is called
more like the
Mods? Mod? Is he? Yeah.
yes,
he's
he is
complaining
describing
about
mods. Hold on. Okay, so question: Was
Developers
Arma
have nothing
3...
to do with mods.
What?
What's your
Developers have
question?
nothing to do with mods.
Yeah, they have nothing to do with that.
Can't be blamed
Uh,
for anything that people
what's
make with
your
mods.
What's your question, Tristan?
I was gonna say, like, I mean, I know Marvel Rivals, like the way they modeled their characters, they did it so that it would be easier to just change out the outfits, and probably also easier for certain fan projects. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yep.
But like specifically Arma 3, did they program it with the whole like, yeah, this should be easily moddable so that we have a nice thriving community, or did they just make a game at a time where like code was just easier to deal with, at least, or
They made a
easier to
game that's
alter
great.
from outside than more modern games?
They made a game that was easier to mod. That's about it. They didn't intentionally do. They didn't really intentionally do this. I have a friend on a Discord server who's very into Armor. Trisket, you know the one.
Yeah.
He plays with mods all the time, and They weren't they weren't intended for
Liking
this.
Arma is a thing we don't talk about. I know somebody who's into Arma. You know the one.
It's not what I.
No, we're
I know-
trying
I
to
know
keep
it's-
his
I know it's
identity
not,
a
it's just
secret.
funny.
You know, anonymity.
Like I said,
and
it
all
wasn't
that.
intended to be a secret. It's just I don't want to put him out there. You know what I mean? Like
I don't want to. I don't want people to know that he plays Arma. You know?
Oh god.
What are you doing playing Arma, bro? World of Tanks is right fucking there.
I think he plays both actually.
I
course
think
he
he
fucking
does.
Of course he fucking does. They're all the same.
I
They all
think
play
he
their, they all
also.
play their military real-time strategies. They hate other people.
Yeah, I don't think this counts as an RTS. By the way, I'm pretty sure this is a It's not mass multiplayer online.
Squad-based strategy.
It's a squad-based strategy. Yeah.
It's squad-based. You squad up and you strategize.
Mm.
First you plan, then you plot, then you strategize, and then you bomb first.
Yep.
Reconsider before you die.
Developer tools to essentially remake the game and change things around. When you do that, it's called a mod.
So you're new to Arma 3,
Yep, he's
or
talking about
you're
mods.
thinking about buying it because you've heard it's got a kick-ass modding scene. But what
You can put tits in it.
What mod should you download? What mod should you download? A quick gander at the Steep Workshop, and yeah, it might have one.
The Lesser Swamp. That's not quite as good as the more Swamp.
The more.
I'll think of better choices.
One or two, and by one or two, I mean a fucking ass load. So where do you start?
Yo!
What mod should you download for the best experience possible?
Once again, the War on Terror becomes just a literal game where you can modify, and the more you can play this War on Terror so casually, the more it becomes your reality.
I think it's just really complex soccer, dude, because it's a multiplayer game. I don't think there's a single player component to Arma.
You know, with these mods,
I want to make games more fun.
you could play as the Iraqis. You could play as you know the other
yeah,
side.
sometimes the mod actually makes it more accessible for people who want inclusion and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the most famous ones that I'm aware of are Star Wars and Vietnam.
Yeah.
Also, the base game, one of the sides you have to play as is the local forces fighting against the invading government. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's what that character was
Hamoud-
talking about. That's what that Taliban
was-
guy was talking about. It was, like, fighting
Mhm.
against the regime.
I know Hamoud will appreciate this one. Do you remember Battle for Middle Earth? Did you ever play that?
I know about it, but I haven't played it.
There was a mod for Battle for Middle Earth 2 where you could play as the Haradrim.
Oh hell yeah! Hell yeah!
There were a whole faction
Hell
on their
yeah!
own.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Reflected in your reality. Again, the lines get blurry.
So in therapy, I talk about fusion and fusion with a thought, and the problem with thoughts is you get fused with a thought. And what our government, they basically make up a thought, like these people are terrorists, and they try and get you to fuse with that thought. I'm like, that's a thought. And then with a client, I'm like, remember how we defuse from our own thoughts? That's also a thought we can defuse from, right? Because
isn't the fusion...
What the fuck is he saying?
Yeah.
That was
what
a
is he
lot of
saying?
words.
Okay, so he's saying that games try to get people to fuse with a thought, you know, so that they can't like separate themselves from the
fusion
thought.
dance with a thought.
Yeah, and he's trying to say that the thought that they're trying to fuse with is go kill Arabs. But my question is, doesn't it make more sense, especially since you would know this as someone who plays fucking Far Cry, that it is about outplaying the system or other players?
I don't know anybody who plays Far Cry.
It's basically just that's why I said earlier, it's basically just advanced soccer.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Actually, I'm pretty sure where he's from they call it football.
Oh my god.
What do they call soccer in Pakistan?
Football.
Yeah. Literally everywhere else they call football.
Yeah, they call the game where you kick the ball with your foot.
Look, listen, I love America. It's done quite a lot for me, but why the fuck do we call it soccer? Why is it football? And why do we call the game where you touch the ball with your hands and carry it while running football.
Because it's a foot long and it's not a ball.
It's not a foot long. It's like 8 inches.
Yeah, we also we call soccer for the dumbest possible reason. Basically, that's what the British in like the 1800s called football, because it was associated football. It was associated, and so they called it ASOC. But it was a trend to take off the first letter and put it at the end. So soccer, and then they added a hard R.
Oh man.
Soccer.
Oh, man.
Typical
Oh,
white
man.
man using the hard R.
Soccer is racist.
Oh man. What? Wow.
Okay, but like, so wait, since it was a British term, why the hell do we call it that? Don't we hate them?
Exactly.
We ran away from literally every single other thing that they use in terms of terminology. When's the last time you heard anybody call a garbage bin
Actually, you want to know what makes it more embarrassing? American English and English were actually the same fucking language when we separated, meaning that all the slang terms that they use now, they made up!
Yeah.
Why the fuck did we adopt one?
Did you know that they call garbage cans wheelie bins?
What?
Yeah, the big garbage cans with the wheels on them that you put outside for the truck?
Nigga, what?
They call them wheelie bins.
Nigga, what?
That's what they're called.
What? Okay.
That's what they call them.
Early,
I get it.
Early
Like, it is a bin
alternative
with wheels on it.
Early alternative spellings of included soccer, SOCCA.
Don't be a soccer fool.
Oh my god.
What up, my soccer?
Hey, yo, fool, you wanna play some soccer?
We been.
Christ!
Oh my god. I have a headache.
We was footballs and shit.
I hate it.
You know the nickname for football? Footer.
What up, my footer?
Oh my
Oh,
god.
no.
English.
Is that why they call
English...
it a pigskin now, or is it the other soccer? Or other football, fuck.
That's the other football.
Okay. Other names like fiver and tenner to refer to 5 pound and 10 pound notes. At least that makes sense. Like, oh, I might hand me a fiver.
Oi, mate, you got a license for that?
You have a license for that fiver, mate.
You don't need a license for a fiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need
Have
one
you
for a
been to Britain lately?
tenner.
No, you need training to be a tenor.
Ha. Shut up.
You
Shut up.
You shut up.
Oh my god. What just happened?
What did
What's
you do?
It said you did it.
I didn't do shit.
What is
My
happening?
hands aren't even
It
close
went,
to my
it went
mouse
back
or
to the
keyboard.
beginning and then back to where we were.
I'm playing
Oh, it
Ninja
didn't do
Turtles
anything for
right
me.
now, bro. I don't
It-
even
it-
know what you're talking about.
Anyway.
What?
The government says that they're terrorists. The actual law says.
Oh my god, I just realized, look at this shitty yellow filter that he has over his I know it's just the sunlight, but it's like, oh fuck, that's funny. To denote that he's a shitty brown person from a shitty brown country.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
That's funny.
Is that they're legally
Yeah.
allowed to use armed resistance.
We are Al Qatala. We are the killers. We wage war without sympathy.
And this whole portrayal of the Arabic villains here in the game saying, no sympathy, we kill with no sympathy, with that voice. Like, that's literally all people who support Israel. Especially these days, you have these people who look liberal and nice who are saying, yeah, I'm sorry, it's disgusting that kids are dying, but this is a just war. We gotta do it.
I'm gonna say it. Just
Well, they don't put on a fucking voice, dude.
Well, they do. It's just called their language.
You know what I mean? They're not voice acting to like portray a villain. They're just saying stupid shit.
They don't need to. Just hear them talk.
because you see
Do you love
images
Israel?
of dead children, as disgusting and frustrating and upsetting as it is, does not automatically make a war unjust.
By the way, that dumb racist...
Okay, I want to say something. Give me a minute. I'm not gonna defend her.
Wait. I'm gonna say it too. Hold on. Let me just work it back a little bit.
Go.
I'm gonna say, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's disgusting that kids are dying, but this is a just war.
Alright. I'm gonna
Wait,
say it.
what does look
Wait,
liberal and nice
Gotta
mean?
do
I'm
it.
gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Hear me out.
Shut the fuck up.
I'd hit.
It does not insist upon itself. It does not.
Okay.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
It's the best film.
So
I
It
didn't like.
insists upon itself, Lois. It insists upon itself.
I didn't like the war against Palestine. It insisted upon itself.
Okay, so this wasn't my main point, but what the fuck does look liberal and sound nice mean?
Glasses?
I guess.
Liberals wear glasses?
Well, I mean, this woman is a perfect example.
I mean,
Maybe,
she
but
looks
like,
she probably doesn't like her dad very much.
Maybe,
but, like, still like had a decent enough relationship so that she looks normal.
But like, here's the thing. Firstly, define liberal. That means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
That means very many things.
Yeah, like I use it in the classical sense, but like,
I use it in the shut the fuck up sense.
But anyway, to get to the main point that I wanted to address, he accused her of racism, which, I mean, it may very well be. I don't know what's in her heart. But, like, the statement...
I wish to know what's in her heart.
This is just one of her videos. I've seen her do before, and she's very biased. So, yeah, no, she...
So it might actually...
Yeah.
In her case, it might actually be racism, then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But that doesn't.
But
that doesn't. Go on.
Say what I was going to say. The statement in isolation, like, dead babies doesn't mean that it's an unjust war, is kind of true, because there were a lot of, like, Western forces killed a lot of German babies when they burned down... Was it Hamburg? In World War II? So it's like, in isolation, not an untrue statement. Given the greater context of what's happening, though, I would say that she is incorrect.
I mean, he goes further into it. You should, like, her next thing is hilarious. After this.
Just because you see images of dead children, as disgusting and frustrating and upsetting as it is, does not automatically make a war unjust.
By the way, that dumb racist works for Passages Israel, which is an evangelical organization facilitating
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah. In her case, it might be racism, sure. Okay, fair enough.
It's probably
It's
racist
hilarious.
for her. Good lord.
Yes, knife found in kitchen.
Indeed.
trips of American Christians.
What
to
was it
Israel.
doing there?
So for these people, killing our children is just. But when you have
The knife was promised to her 30,000 years ago.
Our war is not for our fate. We fight to remove all foreign power.
I told you this video started because of an email I received from Sasha, who, by the way, I have to highlight that Sasha is not only a pro-Palestinian but anti-imperialist psychologist, and this is noteworthy here. In his first email to
Same.
me, he suggested that I make a video about Minecraft.
Minecraft is still the best-selling video.
You guys remember that time that the kid got the Christmas present and it was Minecraft? And
Oh,
I
God.
said Minecraft.
Not my cough.
I don't think I saw that video. That sounds hysterical.
It sounds hilarious.
The funniest thing about him saying that, like, oh, I was
You
is
cut out
that
again.
Buddy. Okay,
You
the
cut out. I
funniest
thought you cut out, bro. I heard I was right. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
the funniest thing about this video is that, like, he's saying that, oh, I was supposed to make this. Buddy, your
supposed to make
Minecraft shit is like the dumbest thing possible. Like, thank God for not making this.
Oh, okay.
Thank God.
You cut
I'd rather
out
watch
what
the
you
Minecraft
said at the
movie.
end there finished the sentence for you, so fair enough. Yeah, also basically telling me, oh yeah, this psychologist filters all of his work through his activism. It's like, so you're telling me he's a biased source and that I shouldn't trust him? Like, it doesn't matter if he's right. Like, he's still holding a pretty hefty bias. You've just told me that I can't trust this guy.
Yeah.
Good job throwing your friend under the bus.
Video game.
Well, to be
of
fair,
all time.
people that
Even
are
15 years later, it's sold over.
To be fair,
300
people that are Palestinian or pro-Palestinian do have to watch out exactly who you're talking to, right?
Yeah,
So
in some instances.
him saying that like he is pro-Palestinian, even though that is a biased source, it'll cause him to be more open with clientele than with others, for example. Anyways, that's just what I have to say.
I mean, even still, he's telling us that he is a very biased source, and we can't really.
No, a biased source, but like a source that someone like me could feel comfortable talking.
Well, I mean, yes.
Because,
but that
for
doesn't-
example,
Yeah,
if
because
I
the
went to a
bias,
therapist,
that's
if I went to a therapist, no, absolutely, that's fair. But if I went to a therapist, because like something in Palestine and affects me, I'm not going to go to a therapist named Wiseman and talk about it. Like, what the
Why
fuck
not?
would I say?
He sounds wise.
Now are you just anti-Semitic? And like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
I didn't say anything about anti-Semitism.
No, I did you not hear the voice? Did you not hear the voice? Hold on, let me really increase the voice.
So isn't that just you being anti-Semitic?
Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Nobody here said that.
No,
No, he's
You're not-
countering something before it's said by a potential audience member. That's
Oh.
something
No,
I
not
do
an
all the
audience
time,
member,
too.
but by a potential, we're talking about therapy, right? Like,
If I were going to a therapist, I would expect that
I would seek
therapist to
the
be
counsel of a man named Wise Man. It
I-
sounds like he might know something.
Well, that too. But if I were going to a therapist, I would not go to a therapist that would confirm my biases.
Wait.
but
What
that's
is you?
fair.
What is you not wanting to see a therapist named Wise Man anti-Semitic?
No, okay. I don't know if I cut out
You've
or
been
something, but
you've been cutting
no.
out a lot, my guy.
Have I been?
Is-
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Wise Man a Jew name?
Okay. So
I mean, it's got man at the end. There is a good chance. Like,
Is
No,
it?
but okay,
Is that
so-
a thing?
yeah, like
no, but
Goldman.
I'm saying
Gold Man.
Gold Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
because they have all
okay.
the gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So what I was saying was that like if something that happened to me that's like traumatizing and it happened Palestine that affected me, for example, I don't want to talk to a therapist that just accuse me of, being anti-Semitic for just like speaking my concerns.
Would a
Right.
therapist say that?
I don't know. Maybe they might. Maybe they don't. I just
Well, most therapists would be professional enough to keep their opinions to themselves and only assess the person on an individual.
That's fair,
Getting
but also
therapy from BetterHelp? Like where?
well, I don't know. That's why I'm saying it's more in a hypothetical.
That's a shitty hypothetical.
Well, no, actually, it's a no. Hold on, it's a fair hypothetical because this guy's doing the same thing, just in the other direction. This
Well, I mean,
Sasha guy.
but I also wouldn't go to a therapist that would confirm my biases.
No, but I don't want to go to a therapist that completely ignores what I say.
I figured Rogar was gonna say I wouldn't go to a therapist named Klansman.
That too.
No, but with that logic, isn't that also, like confirming your biases that you're not going to talk to someone named Klansman?
No,
I know it's an extreme case, but isn't that exactly
Not
what you're saying?
necessarily.
No, because I also wouldn't go to a therapist that preaches the opposite.
I also just wouldn't go to a therapist. They're all liars.
That too.
My man. But like, I'm
Jesus
just saying
Christ.
this by saying
I don't know
that
if I should be commended for that, man. I'm damaged.
Yeah, I've seen his face. He has a tattoo of the word written on his fucking forehead.
I'm just depressed.
Jared Leto's Joker was based off me.
Damn. But yeah, no, I just feel like by saying that this guy is, more pro-Palestinian, people that are, either Palestinian or pro-Palestinian, have just a little bit more to connect with, and they can. I don't know. I don't know how therapy works, so maybe.
I
but
having
that's what I'm
having
assuming.
been to therapy actually. Let me tell you, like I see where you're coming from, and I respect. I respect that, like giving that space to someone like that. That is important. That is an important part of therapy. However, you need to completely separate yourself from your work, because you need to take everybody as an individual case and hear their stories so that you can best assess each, story. And that's why therapists need therapists as well. Or need therapy specifically, but anyway, because they're trying to help these people, theoretically at least, better themselves by helping them understand what their problems are. And if you bring your personal biases into that workspace, you are damaging your ability to do that. So, and potentially damaging the people that you're trying to help. Like, that is a very dangerous game
that's
that he's
absolutely
playing.
fair. That is that is fair. It's just that, I would feel a bit more open with a therapist like that than with like any therapist. And there's just like, for example, if there was like for Asian therapist, I feel like I could, tell them things that like only Asian people, and that Asian people is like a variety of different peoples, but we have some branches of overall culture.
Yeah, there's commonalities
that we can talk about.
In like a lot of the family values and the lack of privacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That I can talk to, It's just like, I understand the issue, but like I also I'm not too against it.
Yeah, no, from an empathetic point of view, I understand and appreciate it, but from a professional point of view, I think that it is insanely damaging, and I don't want to use the word disgusting, but it's the one that comes to mind. Because, like, professionalism is very, very important in the field of psychology. So, and as someone who has been to therapy, especially since he's a child psychologist, that's actually upsetting to hear.
Did he say he was a... Oh,
yes,
yeah, he did.
Yes,
He
remember,
mentioned
because
Minecraft, yeah.
that's how we heard about Minecraft, was through the children that he works with.
The children in his walls.
They're in the goddamn walls.
I've had 4 therapists.
I'm going to my second one. So
I have you guys.
I don't know. I don't know if you should. I don't know.
good.
That's not good. Yeah.
Oh, but also I have God.
Nigga,
Alhamdulillah.
have you met me? I kind of enhance guilt.
My God, I am depression incarnate. I don't know what to.
I am the night.
No, he would never say it with such vigor if he's depressed. Just, I am the night. I am depression. Like, he wouldn't even get his arms all the way up. He'd just sort of T-pose a little bit.
I'm Batman.
I am Blackman.
No, he's
I'm
Bedman because he
Blackman.
can't get the fuck out of bed because he's too depressed.
Fun fact, that's a Guilty Gear character.
Bedman?
Bedman, he's from Xrd, yeah.
Are you
Oh,
serious?
fuck
Oh no,
me.
he is.
Yeah, he's asleep in a bed and you play as the bed. It has Dr.
Got it.
Octopus hands.
That is
I gotta-
hysterical.
He's one of the best characters in the game.
Okay,
gotta
we
get
got
back
we got
into
18
Guilty
minutes
Gear.
left in this video. Let's try and fucking just blitz through it.
Oh, good. We've got 18 hours left in the stream.
And it's the worst stuff that he's covering.
Yeah,
because
so
it's
this
the
is either
Minecraft
going to be the fastest or the slowest section. There will be no in between.
100 million copies.
Sasha hears a
There
lot
will
about
be
Minecraft
no
from his clients,
encore.
the kids and their parents.
So I hear a lot about Minecraft, and kids will come into my office and they'll be very angry and frustrated because they've let a friend into their Minecraft world, or they've let a sibling into their Minecraft world, and then the friend or the sibling has blown up their house or blown them up or stolen their stuff, and then they're all like pissed off at the sibling or the friend, like because they trusted them with their home and they're in their Minecraft world. So I sort of had that, that's a strong, kids come in a lot with that, wanting to problem solve that. And then when I saw that Microsoft had been put on the BDS list, the boycott, divestment,
The BDSM
sanction
list? What?
And then
No,
I
the
saw
BDS.
it like,
It's basically a boycott thing.
Oh.
Microsoft, Xbox, Minecraft, and then when I saw Minecraft, I'm like, oh, here we go. So the company that owns the game where you can blow each other's houses up invests in the state that literally blows up children's houses.
I love it when I
This is also the game that you could be a farmer, that you could, you know, like
That is
may just be a
wild.
mine.
Yeah, be
mine,
a noble
you know.
knight
That
defending
is-
the local village. Like,
That is
Exactly.
that is
Where you become engineers, where you build the houses.
Yeah.
You don't have to
That-
blow up houses, you can build the houses.
that is the wildest reach
it gets
I have
worse.
ever heard.
It gets worse.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
anyone
This
connecting
latter
Palestine to
half,
capitalism.
this latter half of the video is just, you know,
He mentioned a game where you could be a little shit.
You can be a little shit in every game.
Well, yes, but this one specifically because it's a sandbox.
Yeah.
You can with player to player interactivity. People are going to be dicks.
Okay.
What?
Let's get this.
That owns the game where you can blow each other's houses up invests in the state that literally blows up children's houses.
I love it when I hear anyone connecting Palestine to capitalism because this is what it's about. This is when you start to see what's really going on here.
I've started to see it like, talking about capitalism, I've started to see it like shell companies. Like, Israel is the shell company for America. So then that way Israel is like the patsy, you know, that can take the fall if, you know, but then America is actually a shell company for the money behind America, you know, because if you look at the money from the Israel lobby, there's not enough money to really influence things in that sense, right? So I think there's these layers of narrative that just are basically designed to confuse people, right?
And reducing Palestine to a religious war keeps people from connecting the dots. It prevents people from following the money. Speaking of which, Microsoft, the owner of Minecraft, is one of the most complicit tech companies in Israelis' illegal
This is awfully tinfoil hatty.
Yeah.
The reason Microsoft is everywhere is because Microsoft is everywhere.
Well,
Yeah,
Shut
because Bill Gates was ordained by Satan.
No, see, the reason why Microsoft is everywhere is because it's cheap and it works.
Exactly.
Microsoft deepens ties with Israeli military.
It's
during
not
Gaza.
Linux. Like, it's cheap and easy. What?
Microsoft deepens ties with Israeli military tech support during Gaza war. That goes counter to what you guys are saying, because
Well-
you guys are saying that, oh, it's everywhere. No,
Well, here's the thing. My
You
eye
guys-
was
let me
drawn to the
finish.
text, and sure, we can, say that that's a problem too. But my eye was drawn to the text that he's pointing at with the big red arrow saying, "Leaked documents shed light on how Israel integrated the U.S. tech giant into its war effort to meet growing demand for cloud and AI tools." To me,
So
that
then-
just sounds like, oh, they're using a technology that already exists. And
Yeah.
besides, remember, this is The Guardian. They have a very left-wing bias. They are going to
Yep.
frame
Okay.
everything from a left-wing point of view. That doesn't mean that it's wrong
I'll think
necessarily,
flatline.
just offhand. It means that they are going to frame things in a very specific, often anti-Western way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the details of this. If Microsoft is being like, "Hey, Israel, we're going to help you bomb them babies," then yeah, I would say that's a problem and they should go fuck themselves. But if it's
Yeah.
just Israel using a technology that already exists, then what's
according
the
to the
problem?
Associated Press, Microsoft has a multifaceted relationship with Israel, particularly in the technology sector, with the key aspects being cloud computing and AI. Microsoft provides cloud infrastructure and AI services. This includes the Azure cloud platform, which is utilized for various applications, including the Israeli military app for permit management in the West Bank and Gaza. Now they also have military technology also through Azure cloud storage and also various AI services,
The issue
as
with
well as
that-
cybersecurity, investments and development, governmental contracts. So there's actual government contracts between the Israeli government as well as Microsoft, and police and prison services. So they use AI technologies to help facilitate police and prison services, whatever that means. So, yeah,
The
no,
issue-
it is.
Yeah,
There
no,
is quite a bit
that
there.
sounds like corporate meddling in a war, which yeah, I'm personally not a fan of.
No. The
Because
the issue that I have with it is that it sounds like they're just using their tech.
Did you hear what Rogar, or not Rogar, what
No, I heard
Mahmood?
it. I heard it. I'm looking at the freaking arrow thing. It sounds like they're just using their
Did
tech.
you look it up at least? Like I looked it up. My answer was from looking it up.
Hang on.
Well, yeah, no, like the thing is, what you're saying is probably correct, Hamoud, but the issue is this guy's so bad at editing that he's not pointing at the text that actually supports his argument. He's pointing at the text that hurts his argument. Like, what are you doing, my guy?
Yeah, he's okay. Like I understand why he made this video, but he should have worked with multiple creators on working with this
Yeah,
video.
work with people that actually know what the fuck they're talking about, and also work with people that know how to make edits that are convincing.
Man, the website for the BDS movement is just called BDS Movements, and the M is also capitalized. So it's like, oh come on.
Apartheid regime and ongoing genocide. Also noteworthy, the Israeli shareholders in Microsoft also founded Friends of the IDF. And these motherfuckers hide behind the game like Minecraft.
What?
McDonald's meets the Minecraft universe with 6 new collectibles in a Minecraft movie meal.
This is how we're gonna kill Palestinians, by the way.
Yeah, this is like
McDonald's.
what? Oh, like it's so frustrating. It's like I want to, dude. Just please, just get your fucking shit together, man. Like, oh.
Boop, 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 boop. Speaking of McDonald's, are you boycotting them? You know they give free meals to the soldiers of the IDF. Feeding those baby killers.
Okay.
Yum, yum, yum.
well-
These meals sure are happy.
And
I know. The
Why is
whole
it not?
subject
Why
of-
is it not? Okay. I do acknowledge this 110%. However, you have to actually, so many McDonald's in Arab countries are like, hey, no, we are not affiliated with that, because the way McDonald's is that they work on a per store basis. So the store in Israel gave out free lunches to the IDF. It's not that like McDonald's policy is to do that, it's that that particular store did that.
Oh yeah.
However,
to bolster
also,
your
you gotta-
argument, there was one store in China that put up a sign that said "No blacks allowed," and they got shut down by McDonald's corporate because it went viral enough.
And however, because of this, and also McDonald's had really bad statements after that, almost all the McDonald's were immediately just shut down. So yeah, they are on the boycott list. However, for other reasons, just for the reason that he described. A lot of stuff is on the boycott list, and I can't really fault anyone for,
Yeah, like if you want to
doing
boycott
that, because
something,
it's just
because
yeah.
you think it's the right thing to do, go ahead. Like that's well
Yeah.
within your right, and sometimes you should. Other times it's like, no, that's
I mean, like, I boycott Nestle because those guys fucking steal water and sell it back to the people dying of starvation. Like, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, if it's their
You
water
know.
to begin, like, like it is technically factually true that water is not a human right. That doesn't mean you should take it from them just to sell it back to them. Like, that's fucked. It was already theirs. That was on their territory. Like, fuck you.
Well, the only country that disagrees with water being a human right were America and Israel.
Yeah, and they're fucking wrong. Or wait, no, sorry. The only country. Okay, so that's gonna entail a
you
whole
said, Hamoud?
discussion on like what entails a human right, and a human right is something that is intrinsic to like the natural value of being human. So water is one of those things where it's like access to it requires the work of, other people oftentimes. Therefore, it is not a natural right, but given how important it is, it should be a civil right in that, it's an agreement between the people in charge and the people being governed that everyone should have access to it.
Well, in order for our human rights are the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe that's the American rights.
Those are the first
life.
three listed, yes.
Water counts as life because we cannot live without water. That's just default.
That is true. And you can go out and get water yourself. So, you know what? Actually, yeah, maybe. Now, like a bottled water, that's someone else's labor. You should pay for that. But if it's the water from your own backyard that they took without your permission, then yeah, that's a fucking problem. That was your water, not theirs. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
Is an awkward one, especially bringing it up to people because it's such a buzzkill, right? Like you tell people, are you boycotting this? Are you boycotting that? It's like, And I talked about this with Sasha, who actually, he doesn't even have to bring it up all the time to his clients because a lot of his clients know that he's pro-Palestinian. So he doesn't even have to talk about boycotting most of the time. But indeed, the subject of boycotting is tricky because especially as a psychologist, you're not allowed to, because your clients are in a vulnerable position. They're coming to you for help. So you can't be talking about your politics. And Sasha discusses this with his wife, who's also a psychologist. Like, how do we bring up our beliefs, especially about something, an ongoing genocide? Like, I think this is where the rule book goes out the window a little bit.
You think he was disappointed when he found out that Sasha had a wife?
Not Bara.
Kids are getting murdered for 19 months straight. It's a bit ridiculous to say, I have no thoughts about that. Like, that's not being professional. That's...
Sometimes I'll sneak it in, right? Like, I'll say things like, they'll mention McDonald's. I'm like, I can't eat at McDonald's. They're like, why not? I'm like, because it's...
Here's the thing. If someone asks you directly, then maybe, but that's like a tricky thing. Or you just shut it down by saying, this is not a political place. And just like let them continue to share their thoughts. But instead, this guy's answer is to, sneakily, throw it in there and say, hey, you should believe this, which is really fucking underhanded. It's like, bro, it's like, it doesn't matter if you're on the right side of history, you're doing it in a really fucked up way.
Well, let him finish. Maybe it's like completely like,
No, he just said that.
No, but that's it. No, he's saying that he doesn't. Let's let him say
that. Yeah, I've brought it back. Let's hear what he has to say.
Professional. That's.
Sometimes I'll sneak it in, right? Like, I'll say things like, they'll mention McDonald's. I'm like, I can't eat at McDonald's. They're like, why not? I'm like, because it's on the boycott list. All right. So there are natural ways you can just sort of bring it into
That's not too bad.
But the thing with Minecraft, I think it's almost like. It's almost going to become a trigger for me because it's like so many kids talk about Minecraft. And, one kid brought it up the other day and I sort of I don't say it like you should boycott Minecraft. Like that's, because that's not going to work with people anyway, I think, right? I think it's just about, well, it's on the boycott list. Do what you want with that, right? And I think I said that to this particular teenager and his response was, I'm just going to play the earlier versions of Minecraft before Microsoft bought it, and that's what I'm going to do to sort of get around the boycott. I'm like,
that's not how that works. Let's just let him think that's how it works. Like,
I mean, okay. So this comes. I guess this is more of practice that I do, but I tend to make things easier for people rather than harder for people. So like if someone, in the case of. Minecraft in this case. Minecraft is a staple for kids, right? Even I play Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
But once you I bought the game previously. I bought it like a while ago, and I'm not looking to buy anything new. There's no issue in you playing the game. The issue is buying the game, but that's already done. So, I mean, like when you play Minecraft, you're not like controlling a drone that kills like a Palestinian family. You're playing a game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's unless you already bought something, or unless you're specifically like giving money to Microsoft, like, I want to. It's like it's not a commodity, Like you buy it one time, and you play the game. Minecraft is a beautiful game because it allows for buy it one time.
Exactly.
That's it.
Hell, there's even to add to your point, there's even a Minecraft server that has a bunch of like books and stuff that are illegal in other countries. So like Minecraft is actually a great place for people to connect and stuff. And so it's like I am willing to sacrifice $16 that's probably not going to go to that war effort in order to play this game that can connect the entire fucking world. But if you have like stocks in Microsoft, then yeah, maybe give those to somebody else, so that that way it's not your money that's going there,
Yeah, and also like this is I mean what they're saying like pre-Microsoft takeover. I mean that's when I had my Minecraft. That's how like a lot of especially the old generation have their. Do they stop playing Minecraft now because it's owned by Microsoft? Like no. Oh, this is where it gets like a bit. I understand the boycott and I follow the boycott, but it's people like this that hurt the boycott. Like it is supposed to be difficult, but like also if a game like Minecraft, which has nothing to do and where, you could build a whole scale model of free Jerusalem, it's Minecraft, dude. Just like
the issue I have with this is the fact that he's doing this as a therapist.
His original statement. Okay, the worst part about his original statement was that he's saying I sneakily try to put it in. It's like, don't say that. Don't say that, dude. Just say that. Oh, I don't do this. Done. Easy. That's it. That's it.
He stated that he's actively doing this though.
Exactly. That's kind of where he really hurt.
That's
like don't say that.
Like a sleazy motherfucker is more harmful to a good cause than any number of missiles. I will stand by that 1,000,000 fucking %.
Agreed. And he's a child therapist as well.
Yep.
So, and kids are very impressionable.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling them not to play Minecraft? That's like, what the fuck, dude? What else do you want them to play?
Right?
Do you know what's out there?
Persona.
Do you Minecraft
No.
is like the most sweetest game anyone can play. It's just a little game where you put blocks together, you make the great castle, wonderful. It's like, buddy, you're not a game player. In fact, you yourself played a game where you shoot Iraqi. That's you. That's you playing that game, Mr. Sacha. That's you.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to turn around and say to people playing fucking Minecraft that they're bad people and that they're going. That's okay. What
He
the fuck?
even stated earlier in the video that he enjoyed these games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's very hypocritical.
I'm gonna
on his
help
part.
this moral cause that I believe in by being a miserable cunt and taking joy away from people.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
This reads as to nothing but hypocritical, and ugh.
Like, well, as long as you're not giving Microsoft money, I guess that counts as a workaround.
That's interesting. But going back to the boycott of Microsoft and Microsoft's complicity, Microsoft also makes this Xbox controllers. Did you know that a new armored fighting vehicle from Israel called Carmel was designed with input from video gamers? The result is a vehicle that includes such tech as Xbox controllers, ammunition counts, and available weapons projected onto the view screen. Can you
Gee,
Go back a
why
bit.
would the military try and offer a tool that, potential soldiers are already familiar with? It's like, this isn't gaming being evil, this is just the military being intelligent, which might
he's
entail being
reaching here.
evil, but that's another question.
He's reaching here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Very
this
much
is in 2020. A new Israeli tank features Xbox control. And this is the Washington Post. And so it's like the Carmel tank that is it remote? It doesn't look like it's dark in the windowless. Yeah, no, okay, so it is remote. And so it is just an Xbox controller, which is like, okay, yeah. They have an Xbox controller use tank, which will go into civilian places and fucking kill people. Ugh.
Yeah, like that's disturbing, but that's kind of the nature of war, really. It's like, hey, let's take something people know to, like, something people are already familiar with to make molding them into killing machines easier. You know, to help fuel the war effort, to move logistics, faster and things like that. War has always been like that. This is nothing new. It's just the newest piece of technology, and I'm not going to lay this at the feet of gaming. Well,
I would lay this at the feet of Microsoft, because Microsoft is saying that, oh well,
no, because
you've played these games before. Well, you already know how these work, so we're just gonna use that in there.
I wouldn't even go that far. It's just innovations. Like you could have said the same thing with like you could say the same thing with Mario. You're literally jumping and squishing Goombas.
Using an Xbox controller to control
that's
a tank
not
is a
quite
bit
the same.
different. Yeah.
It's not quite the same, no, but it's similar enough. Like,
but how would Mario
really,
compare to
no.
using an Xbox controller to control a tank? An Xbox TM controller.
Where the TM?
Well, no, there's a difference between using a controller to, interact with a drone versus playing a video game. Like, those are actually, I will actually say those are straight up two different things. And that's what I've been saying the entire time. Like, gaming and killing are two completely different things. It's just, now they have one thing in common because they use the same device.
Yeah, so it looks like they're still in development with this, but that is kind of I just wish he brought up the article about it. It's like, buddy, come on, you have this idea, just fucking use the article.
Yeah.
Can you imagine using your Xbox as a kid playing, and then using that same Xbox in your tank as a soldier?
You've got this Israeli guy growing up playing, might be playing Minecraft, might be playing Fortnite, and then basically just growing older but not moving anywhere, just moving from their bed or their bedroom to the seat of a tank, basically, right? Like, and it's just like a production line.
Microsoft has been deeply integrated with the Israelis. It actually launched its first cloud data center in Israel with hundreds of millions of dollars invested in it from the United States. There's also a particular app which the Israeli army uses called the Munassak, which is the coordinator. And basically,
that's what I was talking about.
Coordinator app is used by the Israeli civil administration in the West Bank to manage the issuing of permits to Palestinians. And also you have a key collaboration of Microsoft with the Israeli military Mamram unit, which enables intelligence gathering. So there's many ways in which Microsoft should and can be targeted for the way in which it has assisted Israel across this time.
So the question I wanted to address today is really simple. What does all this mean?
Shame on you. You say you claim that you care about using AI for good, but Microsoft sells AI weapons to the Israeli military. 50,000 people have died, and Microsoft powers this genocide in our region.
Thank you for your protest, I hear you.
Your Syrian family know about this, Mustafa.
I hear your protest, thanks.
You have blood on your hands. All of Microsoft has blood on its hands.
But I want to go back to Minecraft as a game and the parallels between that and what's happening in Palestine. For example, there are two modes for playing in Minecraft. The creative versus the survival modes.
The first rule in creative is very simple. No matter what you do, you cannot die. There is nothing that can...
you can fall through the world and use kill commands, so you can die.
Hurt you. You might get a fright now and then when you encounter a specific mob, but everything in the creative world is completely harmless. That is unlike survival mode where mobs are hostile.
I feel that is the exact same difference between Israelis and Palestinians on the land. Palestinians are constantly surviving, especially the last 19 months, under the most inconceivable of circumstances.
No. What would be a closer comparison would be perhaps all diamond armor versus someone that is unarmored. That would be a closer comparison for someone that actually knows. Thank you. But
that's still, like, kind of irrelevant because, like, the difference between the two is, like, very self-evident.
Yeah.
He's using Minecraft. He's painting Minecraft to be this, like, oh, but it's a representation of us, buddy. It's Minecraft. It's Minecraft. It's Minecraft.
Yeah.
Minecraft is far and away the furthest thing from Palestine that you could get.
Oh, it gets worse. He ends up saying something that's actually vaguely racist.
What does he say?
Literally trying to find food while running from bombs, like that is what survival mode is. Another parallel between Minecraft and real life. There are literal pillagers as characters in Minecraft.
What is the pillager in Minecraft? I did some more digging and realized the pillager is just a minion to the evoker. We all know the power the evoker has, so it only makes sense that he has workers while the evoker sits back and does all the thinking.
If that's not like the settlers in Israel, I don't know what is.
What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about?
Especially given some of the discourse people have had about Minecraft being racist because of how it misrepresents Jews.
I
like,
don't even...
buddy.
That's such a bad. That is.
Yeah, like
bad,
I think that's
is...
stupid too. But this boy just played right the fuck into it.
So first off, like, evokers don't control pillagers.
Yeah,
if
they're just
I
a higher
remember correctly.
rank. That's it.
Exactly. They're another mob entirely.
Yeah.
Now comparing settlers. Okay, so settlers, their whole idea. You settle, and then when they back, that's their whole. So like I care less about settlers because they know what they're getting into by going into someone else's land and trying to exterminate them. I mean, okay, so if what he said about Minecraft is true, then it would be like, okay, I can kind of see the parallel between BB sort of egging on the settler. I can kind of see that, but he's wrong.
He's like so much.
His knowledge of video games hurts him. He should not be He should not be talking about video games. Make a video just about Palestine. Don't talk about the video game aspect because you don't know the video game aspect. You don't know anything about it. So
if he wanted to make a comparison, he could have just done war movies.
Exactly. There's so many other media.
And even then, war movies are typically anti-war.
Yeah.
I mean,
whether or not they're good at being that.
American Sniper at all. I mean, if he wanted to talk about a really bad war movie, he could have talked about American.
Yeah, or Lone Survivor.
Yeah, why? But he's talking about Minecraft. Like, dude, why are you hurting your point like this, man?
Yeah, especially with that vaguely racist shit that he said. That was pretty bad.
Well, he's talking about settlers, and settlers are, they know what they're doing. Of course, not the children. Those poor children are dragged into this by their evil parents.
I'm so irritated. I didn't even hear the racist. What was it? What was he? What was it he said?
He basically just compared the pillagers to Israel just completely.
Well, Israeli settlers.
Okay.
Israeli settlers.
Good night. I'm going to bed. Y'all have a good one.
Oh fuck! You killed him.
I'm out. I'm
we
out.
Lost
Good
Rogar.
night. Y'all have a good one.
No, we need you for the worst part. No, okay. If you need to go to bed, I'm not gonna stop you.
No, I can.
Yeah, but no, he's talking about Israeli settlers, not like Israeli people. But yeah, settlers. I mean, adult settlers. I'm not gonna argue about children. That's stupid. Why would I say that? But yeah, no, adult settlers know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And especially if you look at their flag parades and what they say and what they do, they know what they're doing.
There are also the creepers, which are characters in Minecraft.
What is the creeper in Minecraft? The creeper is unlike any other mob. Its only goal in life is to sneak up on only the player and blow it up. Fun fact, the creeper was actually made by...
Oh no, I know exactly where this is going.
Yep. Well, let's see
The
what he has
creeper
to
was
say.
supposed to be a pig. Well, what if it still is?
And then it just cuts to footage of Israelis and Palestinians beefing, and it's like, what
That-
the
that-
fuck
that
are
has
you
nothing to do
saying?
with
Not even a
creepers.
suicide bomber. Like,
Yeah.
the layup was right there.
Yeah, he could have said that, like, oh, this is,
If you were gonna
like
say
further.
something retarded, you could have commit like fully to it, but no, there was nothing.
He said the worst is yet to come. This is feeling pretty bad.
Yeah, it's if I remember correctly, he also mentions zombies and compares them
Well,
to
we'll
Israelis.
We'll see what more he
Is
has
it
to
sort
say.
of like zombies? And when I hear zombies, I hear mindlessness. I hear like, and maybe the creepers themselves are dehumanized because there is that boomerang effect on the Israelis. I think where it's like if you dehumanize others, you're gonna end up dehumanizing yourselves.
So is this, nobody tell him about Left 4 Dead. Don't do it. Also, I have here an artist's rendering of the current plight in the Middle East. This is an accurate depiction of Israel versus Palestine. Trisket, if you would.
Wild. Wild.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad. That's funny. Oh my god. That's scuffed.
I needed that. Thank you. Oh fuck me.
I'd rather not.
You know what I mean, you asshole.
This guy probably will, though.
Ew.
Yeah, it's true. He's a bottom.
But let's go back to what
Dude,
Sasha was
stop!
initially
I don't
talking
want to
about,
hear
how
about it.
Minecraft or video games is like the gateway drug towards desensitization.
I mean, in terms of gateway drugs, it normally goes like Minecraft, but then they might move on to Roblox, and then that leads to.
No.
Why is he starting with Minecraft? Why is he starting with Roblox? Dude, talk to the meat of the issue, which is like Call of Duty, all the shooting games in which you actually want to talk about.
Which is so
The
funny because he
beginning-
brings up Fortnite, which it's like, oh yeah, that would be a gateway drug into Call of Duty. Fair enough. But then he just ends on Fortnite.
Roblox isn't in the militarization pipeline. It's in the molestation pipeline.
Oh my god.
I am I am severely irritated. Good lord.
Fortnite, and they will argue with me that Fortnite's not violent because you don't see any blood, right? Like you
I
just
completely
like,
forgot
killing
that
people
Optimus
without the
Prime
blood.
was
So they're like, so that's okay.
Wow, that's so interesting because actually that's what makes the killing of Palestinians easier because it happens from the sky, because it's not. So actually, I would argue that that's probably more dangerous, right?
Like I said, you can see a lot of detail with those drones. Fuck me. Like
Well, you can't see the whites of their
in terms of
eyes.
like
You can't
coordinating
see,
a
you know.
missile, I would assume so. But like I also can't assume that these people just haven't seen any of the footage of what they've done. Like strangely,
This is the wildest leap.
yeah, this
in
was
logic.
made by someone that knows nothing about video games, but not only that, knows nothing about how the military functions in the modern day.
Apparently also knows this dude knows nothing about video games. He knows nothing about the art form he's talking about. He needs to be quiet.
Well, no, I shouldn't say he needs to be quiet. At least don't make a video specifically about video games
Yeah.
when you yourself don't know anything about video games.
Yeah, like he could make more videos on this subject. I couldn't give a shit. Like you do you, man. But like
The issue is he's talking about the medium in which we all are accustomed to.
Yeah, just
he knows nothing about it.
don't drag my fucking baby into this, and then indirectly call
Exactly.
me a bad person because I like to have
For
fun
having
at the
that
end of my
baby.
day.
Don't drag my kid into this and then be pissed at me for having that kid. Like what?
Yeah.
Right? Because I think if there was blood, if you literally had to, I don't know, fight with swords like in the old days, you would probably like actually feel more the weight of what you're doing.
I normally play games for cathartic.
Okay, so I know this is tangential, but that's actually kind of not true in a way. People in, like, say, the medieval period, they recognized that there was a horror aspect to war, but there was also a lot more, like, glory to it because it was about your physical prowess in overcoming someone else. What made war go from this glorious thing that you went out and did with pride to this thing that was almost universally like understood as a disgusting, horrible thing was the industrialization of warfare that brought about the horrors of World War One and the prolific use of cameras during World War One. During the Age of Swords, you would happily go to war.
You would?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a whole different mentality about it back then. And if you read like some of the literature, like they knew it was a terrible thing, but they did it with glee because
there's a
Okay,
reason.
there's a
reason.
quote from the Game of Thrones book. I think it's from the third one. That would be Clash of Kings. That kind of goes against what you say. It's a very good quote. It's called the Broken Man Speech, and I'm going to recite a little bit of it, if I can find it.
Well, the thing is, like, as much as I respect those books and Martin's research into them, there's still like
so this is referring to
from
like
the period.
Okay, this is and written by knights. Now this is from I believe this is from book 4, so Peace. And in this chapter, they're talking about me left the field of battle and became.
You're cutting out
So-
rapidly, dude. You
are.
Yeah. You're very choppy.
Damn it, man! Are you fucking kidding me? Okay.
Give me the quote and I'll read it.
All right, I see, Mr. Voice Actor. Okay.
We gotta plug him somehow.
I don't know about that. But,
So Podrick says, is a broken man an outlaw? More or less, Brienne answers. Septon Maribold disagreed. More or less than more. There are many sorts of outlaws, just as there are many sorts of birds. A sandpiper and a sea eagle both have wings, but they are not the same. The singers love to sing of good men forced to go outside the law to fight some wicked. But most outlaws are more like this ravening hound than they are the lightning lord. They are evil men, driven by greed, endowed by malice, despising the gods and caring only for themselves. Broken men are more deserving of our pity, though they may be just as dangerous. Almost all are common born, simple folk who have never been more than a mile away from the house from born, until someday a lord came around to take them off to war. Poorly shod and poorly clad, they marched away beneath his banners, oft-times with no better armed than a sickle or a maul they made themselves, by lashing a stone to a stick with strips of hide. Brothers march with brothers, sons with sons, friends with friends. They have heard the songs and stories, so off they go with each, dreaming of the wonders they will see, of the wealth and glory they will win. War seems a fine adventure, the greatest most of them will ever know. Let's see if there is more.
Well,
Until they have a taste, and then they get a taste of battle. For some, that one taste is enough to. Others go on for years until they lose count of all the battles. But even a man who has survived 100. Brothers watch their brothers die. Fathers lose their sons. Friends see their friends trying to hold their entrails in after they've been gutted by an axe. They see the Lord who has led them cut down, and some other Lord shouts that they are his now. They take a wound, and when it's still half healed, they take another. There is never enough to eat. Their shoes fall to pieces from the marching. Their clothes are torn and rotting, and half of them are shitting in their breeches from drinking bad water. That's just a little bit. There is some more, but I can't find it at the moment. It wasn't a fun.
No, I didn't
even
say it
then-
was fun. I said that there was a different cultural understanding back then, and because of the physical prowess involved, it was a lot easier to sort of get it in your head. Oh, this is fine. You know,
But
it,
there's
it wasn't
why-
until
there's a-
the age of
like, there's-
industrial
there's a-
warfare
there's
that
a-
it was
there's a
much
reason-
more
There's
understood
a reason
as a bad
why.
thing.
There's a reason why war stories are a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Like what?
And I'm not meaning to say, oh, nobody, like had a bad time in war. No, war is a bad time, and like that's been written about, since the ancient times. Like, the Greeks wrote about this, the Persians, all of them wrote about it. It's just, the attitude because of the methodology of warfare, as well as just the lack of, photo evidence, completely changed the culture and mentality around it. And because of the physicality around it, it changed how people would respond to it. That's why I
that
said
being
they still
said, those are
recognized there
knights.
was the horrific aspect to it, but there wasn't this culture of war is bad back then.
No, that was, remember, the knights and the kings who have this idea about writing. The common man is not the one writing.
Yeah, true.
And so we hear from the perspective of people that are like, oh, it's an honor thing for why I'm partaking in this war, in this crusade, in this jihad, whatever. But the common man who is there, sometimes they might believe in what the king is saying, especially when, or in terms of like the crusaders, they might believe in what their king is saying, but other times it's that, oh, the king has called me off to war, I guess I'm gonna fight now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not denying that either. I'm simply saying that because with modern warfare, a lot of it is stay where you are so that you don't get shot while you point the boomstick at the other guy and kill him from a distance. But in historical warfare, there was a lot more like physical prowess and skill that had to be involved in, the individual fight.
well, that's not to say that there isn't the same with like shooting and whatnot. But
Well,
like,
yeah, no, there is still all that, but it's quite different. It's like as now, granted, I know it's a game, but like I've been an athlete off and on my entire life, and there is absolutely something to the knowledge that you have physically overpowered and outdone someone. And then there's also the whole, schadenfreude thing of, hey, this guy killed my friend, I'm gonna kill him. And that I would hazard a guess that bitterness is the reason why most of the rapes happened after a battle. So like there was a different mentality to it. I'm not saying that, everyone was hunky-dory and, they all loved war. I'm just saying like the mentality was different because the technology and culture was different. If I'm not making sense, then we could just move on.
well, you are, at least to me.
Process, right? Like if I'm feeling angry or something, I'm like, maybe I'll get on a game and I'll like release my angry feelings, like. And it's like, if you're in a stabby mood, you'd play like Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed is very like, it's very blood stabby, But if you're in like a shooting mood,
Terrible
you would
footage.
play like Far Cry or Call of Duty or.
Can you elaborate on what is stabby mood?
By the way, I'm glad that he brought up Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Who do you play as in the first game?
Freaking assassin Altair specifically.
Altair ibn Lahad. I don't know if I
Yeah.
pronounced that right. Hamoud, correct me.
Nope.
I figured. But in any case,
Altair ibn La'ahed.
there you go. Thank you. What he said, that one. He's an asshole, but he goes on this journey of learning to be a better man, but he's an asshole because he knows he's better than everyone else. And also, most of the other characters in the game are Arabs, and you go around mostly killing invading Europeans.
Yeah.
Yet video
Always
games
a good
demonize
time.
Arabs.
Love that game.
Okay,
by the
well,
way.
you have to understand who made the first Assassin's Creed game.
Canadians.
Yeah.
No, but specifically, I believe the director of Ubisoft at the time was a guy named like Ismail, or like he was an Arab guy, so of course. Yeah, so him and his people in light of respect. It's when it's not written by an Arab person that's where you see the sort of like negativity.
I mean, the initial story wasn't written by an Arab person. It was written by a Canadian dude.
Well, what can
Like a Canadian Arab,
unless he was
right?
unless he was Iroquois or unless he was Huron, a Canadian comes from somewhere else the majority of the time.
Right, fair.
Let me even look up Assassin's Creed 1 because I know the guy who like was the head of Ubisoft, like this Arab guy. I just need to make sure. Assassin, you can keep playing if you guys want.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, it depends. If Israel's done something particularly anger-inducing, then maybe I might be in a stabby mood. And there's another aspect here, which is like how you define violence, right? So there was one time we did a trip. We went to Uganda. We stayed with a family in Thailand, and they were like an NGO sort of family, and they had these beliefs about like, oh, we don't let our kids read Harry Potter or do any sort of violent video game stuff. And then I look over, and their kids are playing the Lego games. Now I love playing the Lego games. That's really because it's a nice, soft, platformy, fun sort of thing. But
Yeah.
you're still shooting guns, you're still like punching people, and like, so even the Lego games, like it's but parents, I think, over time have become desensitized. It's almost like their defenses are broken down, so it's like, oh, it has to be blood, like that's what it has to be, like it has to be that level for me to like clamp down.
So what are parents to do?
In terms of what to do, I mean, parents could boycott Minecraft, but like I
think they should do that already. But... Get your kids Expedition 33. It's fun for the whole family.
No, a child cannot handle that.
Gomage for the whole family.
Oh god.
Nah, they cannot handle that.
In any case,
No.
so I like how he points out, oh yeah, these was they Nigerian parents wouldn't let their kids absorb Harry Potter, but they'll play the Lego games, and it's like, so you're basically insinuating the same thing that those parents are about Harry Potter, but it's about the Lego games and other video games. Yeah.
See the layers of complexity there, right? Like, how does a parent explain to their child why they're not allowed to play Minecraft anymore? Because in the West, that's another thing, right? Like, what got me was there's that video of these kids from Yemen, and they're like, they send that message to the kids of Gaza, and they're like, we will never betray you. And then I thought about the kids in Australia. I'm like, no, most of them do not know what's going on because parents here are taught to like protect their children from the horrors of the world, right? Like, do you know what I mean? So part of me suspects, like, I don't know, I think it would be good for the kids to know, like, what if the kids knew? I think one of the reasons that parents don't tell their kids is because they don't want to be held accountable by their children. Because kids can see the truth, man. Kids are going to turn around and go, well, why? Some kids, they'd be like, why are you drinking Coke now? Because Coke's on the list of boycotts, right?
So, my kid knows what's going on, and she's not holding me accountable because she's smart enough to know that I literally can't fucking do a thing about it. It's like, oh, sure, I can stop buying X product. Okay. I could, maybe donate some money that'll get blown up when it gets there. Okay, sure, that works. But, like, what can I actually change?
And even then, it wouldn't... The amount of people that would buy these products, you wouldn't even put a dent in it.
Exactly.
Like,
Well, it's more so that like I'm not going to do this, and I would tell them, oh, I disagree with this, and like I will. It's like I won't do this because I know what it affects. And hey, I disapprove of this. There's just multiple things that can go about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to change anything? Well, if a whole bunch of people do it, which they are, like McDonald's fucking plummeted. Starbucks has been essentially, and a lot of the West Coast, not all. Yeah, so boycotts work.
Sure,
Yeah,
they work on the
be a part of
companies
it.
in question, or at least to a degree. Notice how it hasn't stopped anything between the two, though.
Exactly.
Between who?
Israel and Palestine.
Oh, well, no, because that's the American military support. But for like economic support, it's very much hurting all these companies that still maintain ties with Israel, because, well, you know, you're going to get boycotted. American military support, on the other hand, you can't really boycott that.
And therein lies the problem. It's like
you boycott that by not paying taxes, but if you don't pay taxes, then you get
arrested.
to prison.
Yeah. So it's like, what's the end goal here?
Really, like,
you know,
what,
like
what
I
really
respect the
can you
hustle,
do?
but like,
Yeah, I respect the ideal. I do. It's just what?
No,
can
it's
I
also hurting companies. You know, genocide.
These are still billion-dollar companies, though.
Yeah, that hurt, and $1 billion are buy their products, and if a large or not, kind of in trouble.
is your internet doing okay? Because you got real choppy there.
How's now?
You sound good for now.
Okay. Were you able to catch what I said?
Not in that
all of
last
it.
sentence or two.
Not the last
Yeah.
session. Yeah, no, it's to hurt organizations that want to profit off of genocide, even if they are corporations. Well, if you're not buying from them, then they're feeling that.
I mean, yeah, that hurts the corporations. You know, like I'm more than happy to admit that, and frankly, it puts a smile on my face. Fuck those companies, but it's not gonna stop what's happening.
It's not going to stop that, sure, but like that's where we have to do our, you know. I mean, protesting ideally would help, but you know, with this current administration where we're run by aristocrats.
Yeah, it's like I genuinely hate to say this, but Palestine, you're kind of fucked.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that like the world now
certainly was
positioned to Palestine than it was before.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
just because
but
America
just because you
is, you know.
Oh, sorry.
Just because America is trying to, you know, downplay the achievements of the rest of the world doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like Spain officially recognizes Palestine as an independent state. So does Sweden, and both these guys are, by the way, so that really puts a whole spin on things over there. Russia has been a like prominent not partner, but like they've recognized Palestine at the beginning, and a lot of
when China states that y'all got to stop this, that's how you know things are fucked.
Yeah, and this has drastically also hurt America by quite a bit, especially now with the bombings in Iraq. It's like, ooh, yeah, these guys are kind of crazy now.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say Palestine is fucked. I mean, like they were blown up and they will continue to be blown up, but they will continue to survive. Whereas Israel relies on the will of America, especially, but for the most part, the rest of the world, and they're kind of losing that.
It's true. Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up about the kids. I live somewhere close to this one of the squares here in Amsterdam, and now they have this big April.
Wait, fucking hold on. Is he wearing a hairpiece?
I think so. He does drag.
He's been wearing this entire video.
No, I know, but it's just
Kids
True.
don't actually hold their
Yeah,
hands
and it's funny you bring that up about the kids. I live somewhere close to this one of the
I'm gonna have to
squares
get
in
out of here
Amsterdam.
soon, so
Now
let's
they
try
have
and
this
blitz through
big
this.
April fest filled with kids, and I see kids like with these colored ice creams, and they're laughing with their parents, and I think like, how much Palestinian fathers and mothers would love to do that with their kids.
I get that often when I walk my dog, and as I'm walking my dog and I'm feeling very safe walking my dog in the neighborhood, I do get hooked by that thought of like, this is all they want. They just want this life. Like they just
Yeah.
this is all they want, man. Like,
But they don't have it. Instead, they have this.
Are we allowed to show that?
See how quickly
Well,
the
it's
fire
on
enveloped
YouTube.
everyone and the rubble buried people? Palestinians in this clip are nothing but brown bodies seen through security camera footage. Again, like the video game. And the woman running around in black dresses. This is how they view us. But this was hospital ground.
Oh my
That was
god!
bad. Hospital ground. And these were humans that were buried under it. But because we've become so desensitized to the killing of Palestinians, we have to wake people up in other ways.
so when I go to the mall, like the shopping center, I wear a T-shirt that has a bloody Israel flag and it just says Israel terror state, right? And I wear that every time I go to the shopping center. So the next day after this interview, I actually had some second thoughts. I'm like, should I wear this shirt? Like, should I, you know, those moments, those internal moments where you're like, and then I was like, no, man, we just talked about conviction. And then I thought more about everything that Israel's done. I'm like, there is no way I'm like not wearing this shirt.
But I wonder, because I have also friends who have similar moments where they come across this, should I not? I wonder what would it take for the entire world to have moral clarity and not have those doubts anymore, the way we have that about the Holocaust. Like, at which point will we be like,
Clarity when that is the hardest thing I've ever had to read.
Yeah, that is.
And also with like with moral time.
Yes,
The reason why the
absolutely.
Holocaust is treated as it is because it was, you know, a long time has passed and we got to sit around and think about it more.
Mm.
In the same way that this is going to be seen as whole ass fucking genocide.
I think
in
you
a
have
couple
an
of
excellent
years.
Point. I think you make an excellent point. Enough time's gonna pass before people start to wonder if it even actually happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
6 million is an awful lot. I'm just saying.
I mean, like Israelis already don't believe it's. Yeah.
no, this is a given. We have to support Palestine. So, do you have any thoughts on that, or?
Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I was actually just reading something about this phrase called like interest convergence, like how you can create. So people initially will go, that's not happening to me, therefore I don't have to care about it. But I think the sheer brutality and persistence of America and Israel has made people go, even though this has nothing to do with me, I care now, right? So it's like the sheer violence of it has cut through all of those layers of fear and because we have all these sort of internal defenses and things like that, right?
And in the wake of the ongoing genocide in Palestine and what's happening there, this kind of conversation, becoming aware of what makes us okay with this kind of violence, is very crucial. Because these video games, these war video games, are not the only pieces of media that help portray Arabs as faceless enemy fodder, but they are the ones where you can roleplay as someone who's killing the Arabs. So let's talk about that. The problem isn't that we...
Okay, so actually you can roleplay as the Arabs in the multiplayer games, like Arma!
Exactly.
shouldn't have Call of Duty, or that Call of Duty should be different from what it is. Because changing that would require a level of courage and a level of insight at the corporate level that is just not possible within our current system. These games are...
Well, okay, here's the thing. What you're advocating for, while not to the degree that you want it to be, is already happening. Like, Modern Warfare, the original, is nowhere near as even-handed or insightful as the Modern Warfare reboot. Like, the change that you want is happening. It's just happening slowly. You would know this if you were a gamer. Maybe next time you do a video like this, get in contact with some of the gamers that you actually featured in this fucking video and let them take the reins. You just give notes. You give them the research that you did.
Maybe next time, don't talk about video games.
Well, that would be my preference.
Are built on the Western consciousness of war. So let's talk about that, why that culture of war is upheld. There are financial interests that keep it in place. Speaking of awareness around the money driving all this graphic caught my eye about the cost of war on Americans themselves. And there's a propaganda machine hell-bent on making everyone believe war and military is necessary. And the thing that gives me hope is that the awareness around this propaganda machine is increasing, which makes me think that America is not winning the war anymore, and nor is Israel. And that's why they're becoming more vicious, because they know they're losing.
But another point that I think is relevant to this idea of late-stage Zionism is that winning a war is not killing the most vulnerable of the population. That's not how you win a war in a sustainable way. You win a war by convincing the largest amount of human beings of your viewpoint.
And that gives me hope, which you know I like to end on, right?
Actually, you win a war by coercing your enemy into doing what you want to do. Sometimes that it actually entails killing all of the innocent people. Sometimes that entails just being smarter than them, so much so that you never fire a shot. Sometimes that entails everything in between. That's why war fucking sucks, actually, because it's manipulation, it's force, it's violence.
Yeah, what he's talking about is a battle of ideals, and I'm like,
yeah, like if we're talking like winning over the cultural consciousness, yeah, absolutely. But he said war.
Yeah, and wars are one. And like you said, wars are one with manipulation, force, and violence. Like, it sucks to say, but that is it does not change. It has not changed in the millions of years that we've been on this earth.
Yeah, and there's only 2, maybe 3 wars that I could think of that winning over the populace won the war, and that would be Afghanistan and Vietnam, maybe Iraq, depending on how you measure, victory.
Well, Afghanistan was not a victory; it was a continuous war.
No, I'm saying like, a victory for like the other side, where it's like, oh, the masses decided that, this is the way it should be. Like, more people were convinced of a thing, and that's what happened. Like in both Vietnam and in Afghanistan, the American populace got impatient. They got fed up with war, and they wanted the troops home, and that was the thing that happened. So they got the troops home, and as a result, those are the 2 wars that America has lost.
Mm-hmm.
Those are also the only 2 wars that I could think of where convincing the populace actually changed the outcome of the war. Like, there are plenty of other wars where the populace, having an opinion on the war has, affected the way that the war plays out, but rarely does it affect the outcome ever, like that much. And of course, I don't know about every war. There's probably more wars than that, where that did happen, but still. Like, wars are actually overwhelmingly won through violence.
About games, I'd like to end on this hopeful note that's related to games and playfulness. That Palestinian spirit of playfulness that the war hasn't killed. Like, check out this video of a Palestinian mother with her kids in the camp who don't want to do their homework.
What the fuck?
Or check out this guy who's doing the voiceover a la like Turkish soap opera to describe his.
But the goat?
What?
The goat?
The goat?
The goat.
Why?
The goat meme?
This man just sexually aroused 60% of his audience.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Cold bastard.
Yeah, man. Jesus
life
Christ.
under the genocide. That's also playfulness. Or this guy.
So, he said Turkish soap opera. Does anybody remember the word tatakai?
That's
That's Attack on Titan.
that's
Yeah,
that's
that's
Attack on
Japanese.
Titan.
That Turkish. No, it's that Turkish cartoon.
Shut your
What?
fucking whorehole.
Shut.
I was there. Okay. Remember when Turkish Jaeger said all according to Kikaku?
Turkish Jaeger. I despise this.
I hate you.
Instead of
When he
Aaron, it's
flew into the
Arin.
sun.
Aran Aliyah Hagar. No, that's Arabic. Aran
Something.
Jashir.
Is it supposed
Is
to
that
say Aaron Yeager? But in
Jashir?
Arabic?
Aran Yashir.
Jaeger
supposed
means
to say Aaron
hunter,
Yeager
so
Oh,
what does
hunter? Oh.
Yashir then mean?
Hold on. Jaeger is hunter. Let me look up what Turkish hunter is.
Turkish hunter? What do they hunt?
Yeah.
Armenians.
Oh my god!
That's so sad. What did they do?
Oh shit. Oh shit. So
What did the
Aaron
Armenians do?
of shit. Of shit, that's his name. Aaron of shit.
Aaron Tough Shit. Gotcha.
Of his shit.
Oh, of his shit. Got it.
Of
Wild.
his shit.
Oh, there's also Kapakshli shit.
Aaron, what a shame. Actually, I kind of buy that one.
Epically saw it.
Anyway, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Let's just wrap this shit up.
Who keeps singing along to the non-stop sound of the drums.
Since yesterday.
I honestly don't even know what the point of this part is.
It's to uplift and be happy and show that there's hope in the world. Even
Here's
though
a little song I wrote.
That is the Palestinian spirit.
even though all he's done is make me cringe so far. I mean, I kind of like that. That's funny,
Palestinian
but
spirit is the ghettoest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it needs to be ghetto because as soon as it's the Israelis say Hama.
All right, so there was like a word and then silence and then just throat noises. So you.
No, I was speaking Hebrew.
I heard
You were
llama.
speaking Hebrew?
yeah,
Okay.
throat noises.
I
I
heard
couldn't tell because
llama.
I couldn't hear a cash register chiming somewhere in there.
Yeah, so the rest of the video is, if I remember, the rest of the video is basically just this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I realized I paused on the horse and pointed out the cat.
El
I'm
caballero.
aware that is what happened.
El caballo. Mi caballo.
El gato. Fucking my head's starting to hurt.
Gato,
I'm
Mr.
tired
El Gato.
and I'm.
Taro.
Yeah, so
I'm bored.
that was a fun. That was a fun, very long, very
Was it fun?
I had a bit of fun.
I didn't have any fun.
Me
I haven't had any fun since 1972.
I haven't had any fun since 1997.
Damn, that was a long time ago.
Good night, everybody.
Yep.